I'm Nyle Steiner.
I'm Mark Steiner.
I'm Nyle Steiner.
And welcome to the first of the Berglund Instruments NuEVI tutorials. Thanks for joining us. Hey, just wanted to do an overview and kind of an introduction to this really cool instrument. This is the NuEVI made by Berglund Instruments, and it's an EVI designed after the original EVI made back in the 70s and invented by Nyle Steiner. This is an amazing instrument. It's so wonderful. It's a synthesizer controller. You use it to send MIDI signals and information to other synthesizers or your laptop or your tablet, and you can access just thousands, millions of sounds all over the planet that have been developed for all kinds of synthesizers. It can sound like instruments you've heard of. It can sound like things you've never heard of. It can sound like amazing stacks and layers of different instruments. So it's really amazing, and it brings you right closer into the music. Biggest secrets in synthesis is breath control. I'm also a keyboard player. I love playing piano and keyboards on the synthesizers. But what is so nice is also being able to play a synthesizer and bringing in emotion to it by having notes available where when you hit that note, there's a lot more you can still do with that note using breath control. So even with just kind of a simple tone, this breath controller is great. In a very simple, straightforward, natural way, you can be musical and sensitive with that. For me, the second most important thing about this instrument that gets us into the expressive, emotional music, or exciting or deep music, is it has human natural vibrato, kind of like you would on maybe a violin or a trumpet or an instrument like that. There's a little vibrato pad in there. You just kind of wiggle it back and forth. It can change the pitch or kind of the sound, brightness, or both. With those two, it's just amazing. That's a lot of fun too. Right near that vibrato pad, there's also these pitch bender sensors, little pitch bender ramps. They're touch sensitive and they're great. Lots you can do with that as well. So it's really bringing more aspects of your human emotion and the musical thoughts that you have getting them into that synthesizer, and it's really starting to sound like something different. This mouthpiece has a few more things on it. You can see there's an extra controller up here. It's just you put pressure against this, and you can have that do whatever you want it to do. In this case, I'm making it add some really fast rate other waveforms that kind of make it like a nice smooth distortion or a growl or something like that. But you can have it do whatever you want to do. There's so many things you can program. If I press it closer to my lip, sometimes I like to bend it up like that. Or just push it in and out. Or the flute sound, you can make it flutter tongue or hit higher intervals or higher frequencies with that. Just kind of wiggling that sound like a more classical synthesizer sound. So that's great. You can have that do all kinds of things. So use your imagination. You can have it do a lot of things at once, depending on the gear you have and how you set that up. And also, this mouthpiece is something that you bite onto. So if I bite onto this, I can control that, kind of like this other controller. I can make it do all kinds of things. The thing I kind of like to use it most for...
Here's something Mark learned from me.
It's called portamento or glide, and it just means when I bite down on that, the harder I'm biting on it, the slower it gets to the next note. And while I'm in the middle of going to that next note, I can loosen up on the bite all the way and let it slide right into the next. So it's really natural. If I combine that portamento and sliding with this extra controller here, you can get really crazy, do some fun things. So, quite an instrument. The fingerings are based on a trumpet, so kind of three valves you need to learn. Past that, it's not really a trumpet in any other way other than you kind of blow in it. There's these fingerings. It's its own instrument. It's like so many other things. And but it's based on just one single octave of trumpet fingerings. So you've got that there. There's a few other things to make that happen though. So there's a 7-octave range. These rollers, my thumb's gonna slide across on them. As I turn that, that gives me 7 octaves. There's also another button, and it's just the outside of here. When I tap my finger on there, as you've seen me doing, it's basically going to the 5th step in the octave. Basically, it's doing a 5th, or they call it perfect 5th. So that way I can know which half of the octave I'm on. On a trumpet or a sax or other instruments, it takes so much time to get exactly where that is to kind of lip it up into that. On this, it's a simple button, and it makes it a lot better. So it's taking things out of the normal approaches for instruments that that are hard that don't really need to be there, and it makes it more simple. It's a way easier instrument to learn and play than those kinds of things. And again, simple things can sound so good. So it might look kind of intimidating and everything, but when Nyle developed this and spent so much time on it, he came up with an instrument that was very deliberately made to be consistent and easy to play and easy to learn. It is one of the most easy to learn instruments on the planet and easy to sound good on. And it takes a lot of obstacles out of your way so your musical ideas and thoughts can get right out. And you can get really fancy on it and play around and scream on it. And you can be simple and beautiful, and to me that's the best part of it. And beyond those three normal valves that'll get you all the notes, it has these extra little keys called Trill keys. Three more things. They're not necessary, you never need to touch them, but occasionally there's a fingering that's a little bit, from a C to a D, you're doing all that movement. A little nicer to just have a Trill key up here that can do that. So it's just a one step, just one note. Or kind of a minor trill. Or to a third there. Or do a mix them up. There's a little button down here. That's touch sensitive like all these others, and it can be programmed to do a lot of things, but I like to make it into another one of these fancy Trill keys up a minor seventh, and that can be really cool. I already mentioned it can be wireless, but of course it can also go through MIDI. So standard MIDI port right there. You can plug that MIDI cable in and get that working great. It also has a USB port, so you can do MIDI through USB. And also we keep adding functions to this. Johan figures out some crazy stuff and programs it in, and those updates are free. And you can update your software in here as we find ways to make it better and better. So you can set up all the sensitivities, customize it so well. It's even got a little screen here you can turn on and go through the different settings, get it set up so that all these controllers are sensitive, just how you need it. You notice I've been playing it wirelessly. There's a wireless option, and that wireless option is fast. When I play it, it gets right to that synthesizer very quickly, far quicker than Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, that kind of stuff, using the Panda wireless device. going to listen to you and to your emotion. If you just play it kind of normal. Or if you just play it, you know, put your heart into it and be sensitive with all these controls together. Simple, nice, easy things can sound so good. It's a breakthrough in synthesis. This version of it finally has this instrument available again. So much thanks to Johan Berglund of Berglund Instruments, who built the software for this and designed the build and everything, and so much thanks also to Steve Anderson, who started the movement to get this kind of an instrument back available for people to buy. There's a lot of professionals. You've all actually heard this in many movies and TV commercials, played by Nyle and other friends of his and other professionals. But now this instrument is back available for people again. If you haven't played an instrument before and you have some music in you, don't be intimidated by this. It's easier than learning how to type. And I've had students that the only instrument they had was in grade school. They played a recorder, and quicker than a violin or a trumpet new student, they were playing very beautiful things on this. So don't let how cool and fancy it is make you intimidated. It's one of the easiest instruments to play. But anyway, that's my overview of this instrument. We're gonna have a lot more tutorials. And also down in the comments, we're gonna have some links and some other things, and even some places to shoot us questions. And we'd like to get this out into the hands of people because there are some amazing artists out there in this world. So I thank you for your time. Have a great night and take care. Bye-bye. This is Mark Steiner.
I'm Nyle Steiner. Have a great day and take care of yourself.